Hello and welcome back to Bluebaggers Edge. Always a pleasure to have your company. Now, we come to you with confirmation that the Camporeale twins, Ben and Lucas, have nominated to join Carlton under the father-son rules heading into this year's draft. Now, before we kick things off, as always, if you enjoy our content, let us know by hitting the subscribe button. The goal now is 1,000 subs by the time the 2025 season kicks off, and we're well on our way to 500. So if you can help us get there, that would be absolutely amazing. Now, back to the twins. Having been part of the Carlton Academy for the past 3 years, both are looking to follow in the footsteps of their father Scott, who is a club champion, former All-Australian, 1995 Premiership player, and was named in the VFL/AFL Italian Team of the Century as well, if you don't mind. Now, both players spoke recently about their dream to run out in the Navy Blue, and Lucas said it'd be pretty unreal to run out in the MCG like Dad did for the Navy Blues. You start to think it could be a reality. It would be a unique opportunity for both of us to end up here, said Ben. It would be a dream come true. You think about it in terms of Dad. In the past couple of years, it has become more serious. Dad wants us to have our own legacies, not just in Scott Camporeale's kids in that sense. I'm sure he'd be pretty stoked to see one of us wear the number 16. And at the end of the day, we've got our own journeys to go on. So both boys absolutely wrapped and amped to be wearing the Navy Blue, and I can say for sure as well that I'm very, very keen to see them run out in their father's footsteps. Now, both Ben and Lucas, they represented South Australia, and whilst they are indeed twins, they do have their differences as footballers. So Ben, he's more of a right-footed inside midfielder and was named in this year's Marsh AFL National Championships Under-18 All-Australian team. And the cherry on top was winning South Australia's MVP award after averaging 26.8 disposals, 4.5 clearances and 3.8 tackles. As vice-captain of the South Australian Under-18 side to boot, he even took out the McCallum-Tompkins medal, which is the League BNF, in a four-way tie off just 6 Sandful Under-18 games, if you don't mind, where he averaged 31.7 disposals, 6.7 clearances and 4.8 tackles. And to top it all off, he earned AFL Academy selection after being named Best of Field in the 2023 National Futures game on AFL Grand Final Day. So a big feature of Ben's game is his running capacity, much like his old man, and he has the ability to rack up touches in multiple chains of possession, helping move the ball and, of course, generating handy metres gained. And it is from this where he generates big disposal numbers with ease. Lucas, meanwhile, is a left footer and flourishes more as an outside midfielder, playing along the wing and across halfback as well, and averaged 20.8 disposals for South Australia. At the Combine, meanwhile, he proved his athleticism and leaping prowess, finishing 10th in the standing vertical jump and 4th in the running vertical jump, which, for context, was 2 centimetres behind Finn O'Sullivan, who finished second. So big raps there, of course, and I'm sure that he's hanging some shit over his brother, saying, at least I can leap higher than you, considering he is a little bit more developed, is Ben. In terms of where many draft pundits think they could land, draft selection-wise, Ben is seen as the more developed of the two, given the accolades he has achieved to date, and could attract a bid around the mark of our second draft pick at pick 38. And with our selection after that not really coming until pick 63, the expectation is a club will most certainly bid on him before then, forcing us to bundle up our draft points to match it. And we will have no worries in doing so. Before you ask, no, there's nothing to worry about here, because I know there are people I've seen on Facebook, on Twitter, and they're like, we don't have enough draft points, we don't have enough draft picks in order to get both boys. Now we do. We've got pick 68, 69, and 72 in our possession of those later picks, which you can bundle up and use those draft points to match those bids, so don't stress. Now, Lucas is seen as more of a chance towards the back end of the draft, but could even slide to us in the rookie draft if he doesn't attract a bid. Now, this is exciting times for us here, because these two young men will be our first father-son selection since we drafted Ben Silvani at pick 70 in the 2018 National Draft. And I don't know about all of you watching, but being able to hear names Silvani and Camporeale in the same team will bring back memories of me sitting in the Gardner stand at Optus Oval as a young teenager, watching their dads go about their thing. It's a thing of beauty. It's a lot of memories flooding back, but if anything, it makes me feel very, very old all of a sudden. Just incredible. Like seeing all these guys coming through, and even knowing that Cody Walker is coming through in the next couple of years as well. And Andrew Walker was probably during those dark years, after we had our draft concessions ripped away from us due to the salary cap breaches, Andrew Walker was like the beacon of hope for me. So to now see that his son coming through the ranks, wow, it gives me perspective of how old I actually am. And yeah, it's not a good thing. Now, speaking of memories, and again, it does depend on your age of those watching, but do you remember when Campo defected to the Dons way back in 2006? And for those people tuning in of the younger generation, yes, Scott Camporeale was one of the champions of the club, defected to the enemy in the red and black. And I remember it vividly, and I still recall how filthy I was that he was turning his back on the club after he demanded a 3-year deal, and the club would only really, stump up 2 years. Because he was in the twilight of his career and he was having a few soft tissue niggles from memory. And as it turned out, the club refused to trade him. And he was instead picked up by Essendon at pick 4 in the preseason draft. And he went on to add 19 games in the red and black to add to his 233 in the navy blue. But, of course, pales in comparison there. Also reminds me as well of another champion in Matt Allen. Matty Allen was one of the more lumbering ruckmen, more of the old school rucks, but really, really great ruckman. And he defected to the Dons as well. But, one thing that I think is going to be interesting for the Twins is seeing them fight off over their dad's number 16 jumper. Like, does Lucas get first dibs, given that he technically is older by 2 minutes? I mean, he'll probably use that as a bit of a bargaining chip, but we'll see what happens. I mean, as the boys said, as I quoted earlier, that they want to make their own journeys, and it's similar to the Silvani boys. Jack came in and inherited the number 1 jumper, and I'm sure Ben would have been, eyeing it off as well and being a little bit like there's a little bit more sentimental value to it. I think, like, if you're following the footsteps of your dad, you want to, run out in the same number, but also by the same token, you want to be, forging your own path and journey in the AFL. So, who knows? Both boys might be like, yeah, you can have it. I don't really want it. But now that Jackie Carroll is no longer on the list, it does mean that it does free up that number. So it is fortunate timing for both the boys. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see the wrestle, the fight for the number 16. But regardless of what number they wear on their backs, it is really an exciting time to be a blue bagger. And then we think about the fact that we have pick 3 that I still, every time I mention it, I just can't believe it. Pick 3 in a phase of development for the team that we are contending for in premiership is just crazy. And then, as I said earlier, like, thinking forward, the fact that our next father-son's going to be coming up in a couple of years in the form of Cody Walker, the son of the high-flying former pick 2 Andrew Walker. So we're going to be well stocked for youngsters coming through, and I am very, very excited. Let us know your thoughts, though, of course, as always, on the boys. Do you, likewise, have memories? Listen down below in the comment section, because I love to reminisce about the old days. Even if they were dark days, there were still interesting times, of course, as well. Memories of their dad, Campo, strutting his stuff in the navy blue. Because, yeah, it's good. As I said, it's nostalgic, it's sentimental, and brings back those old memories of the younger years for me anyway, being a young, wide-eyed Carlton supporter, going to games, knowing that we're going to get smashed in the early 2000s, year after year, game after game, because we were absolutely smashed from pillar to post by the AFL due to those salary cap breaches, and we had the retirees coming through, Sauce retiring, Campo, obviously, as I said, went to the Dons, Kuda did his knee a few times, came back with a mattress wrapped around his knee, all that sort of stuff. So, as I said, I'm just delving into nostalgia now, so might actually put that for another video, potentially, if anyone is keen to relive some of those nostalgic memories. But let us know your thoughts, as I said, in the comment section down below. But one thing is for sure, it is going to be so fun watching another couple of Campos wearing the navy blue, and it probably goes without saying, if they're half as talented as their old man, we are in for an absolute treat. So I'll leave that there. Thank you so much, Baggers, as always, for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Go Baggers.